What if you could talk to your database like you'd talk to a teammate? No code, no SQL, no setup headaches, just plain English. In this video, I'm going to show you how to connect Claude Desktop to Astra DB using MCP. And by the end, you'll be creating collections, inserting records, and running queries without writing a single line of code. If you appreciate this type of content, let me know by hitting that like button. Let's get into it. So MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. It's an open standard that lets AI assistants like Claude connect to external tools and data sources. Think of it like a USB port for AI. One consistent interface that lets Claude plug into databases, APIs, file systems, whatever you need. Without MCP, Claude only knows what you paste into the chat. And with MCP, it becomes an active agent that can actually read from and write to real systems as part of your conversation. That's a pretty big deal. Astra DB is an enterprise distribution of Apache Cassandra, running as a fully managed cloud service. And it ships with an MCP server out of the box. That means Claude can call it directly to create collections, insert records, run vector searches, all of it. Your chat window in Claude literally becomes your database client. All right, so how do we set it up? You need three things. You need to have Claude Desktop installed, and Node.js 18 or newer, and a free Astra DB account. No credit card required. Let me show you on my screen. If you don't already have an Astra DB account, pause the video now and scan the QR code on the screen. Sign into Astra DB and create a serverless vector database. Don't worry about the details too much, but essentially, you can give your database any name you like. So in this demo, we're going to call it movies-db. And we're going to pick Amazon US East 2 as the region. This usually takes about 2 minutes for the database to become active. What's happening in the background is that Astra is launching a Cassandra cluster in the cloud. While it's doing that, let's get our DB credentials. First thing we need is an application token. So what we'll do here is generate one. So I'm just going to call it token-movies-db. You can name it anything you like. And then I'm going to hit generate token. And there it is. I'm going to go and save it. Now, make sure you store it somewhere safe, because once we leave this screen, you'll never be able to access that token again. So I'm just going to paste that somewhere safe for now. After about 60 seconds, you can see here now that we've got the API endpoint. So once again, we're going to copy that and we're going to store it in a text file because we'll need it later on to be able to connect to the database. Just a quick break. If you want to follow along exactly, the full setup guide with every code snippet is linked in the description and the pinned comment below. Check that out before you start. Now, to connect Claude Desktop to your Astra DB MCP server, open the developer settings and hit on Edit Config, and then edit the config.json file. We need to add the following configuration, replacing the placeholder values with your actual token and endpoint. So let's do that now. Save the file, then fully quit and relaunch Claude Desktop. And that's it. The MCP connector shows up automatically once it's configured correctly. So now that it's connected, here's where it gets fun. Open a new conversation in Claude Desktop and just start talking. First, let's create a new collection of movies. And to do that, we're going to use this prompt. So here we've asked Claude to create the collection. And as you can see here, it's picked up the Astra DB MCP and it's calling the create collection tool. So you can see here, it's used the get collections tool to verify that it's actually been created. So what's happened here is that Claude searched for the tools that it required to execute a request. It then responds with a confirmation when the collection is ready. Now let's ask Claude to populate the collection with sample movies. You can have fun with which movies you want to load, but here's an example. We're going to insert 10 mainstream movies from the last 10 years. Let's see what it comes up with. So you can see here, it's now called the bulk create records tool. So it looks like it's bulk loaded all these 10 movies into the database. Kind of nice selection there. So it tells us here that each record includes the title, year, the director, the genre, which it's created as an array of entries, an IMDb score, and the rating. So just to go back here, it used the bulk create records to insert all the 10 movies at once. Just a bit of a recap. So what happened? Claude translated your natural language requests and mapped them to the right tools it needed to execute queries against the database. It interpreted the results and presented those results in a very useful way. Essentially, what Claude was doing was it was the interfacing client to your Astra DB's MCP server, interpreting inputs and outputs without you having to write the code. Let's try to do more with the database. Let's get Claude to list all the fields in the collection. Nice, interesting. Now, let's do something different and let's try and change the schema by adding an overview field. So here we go. So we're going to add a new field to the collection called overview and set the value to empty for all records for now. Nice. So we can see there that it's run the list records tool. So now let's see if we can have a look at the some of the records. So I'm just going to pull out the first 5 records from the database. Okay, interesting. So I got Black Panther, Top Gun, Maverick, Spider-Man, No Way Home. So at the moment, all the overview fields are empty. Let's get Claude to generate an overview for each movie and update all the records. As you can see on the screen, it's updating one record at a time. So it's doing multiple things. So it's generating an overview based on what it knows about the movie, and then it's updating each of those records for each of the movies. So just like that, we now have the overviews included. Let's have a look at the entry for Barbie. For now. So we've got the overview there for Barbie now. Okay, so what about doing something a little bit of a stretch? Let's see what else we can do with the MCP tools. Let's add a more complex data type like cast members. So for each movie, we want Claude to generate a maximum list of 3 to 5 leading actors and their corresponding character. Then update each record one at a time. Add a new cast field with an ordered array of objects, each with the actor and character as keys. Let's see how we go. Okay, so that's done. Let's have a look at one of the movies. So let's have a look at Black Panther, but only include some of the fields. There we go. Claude is quite clever here, filtering the results on the client side and only showing the requested fields. In another example, when I asked to see the listing for the movie Barbie, Claude formatted the results and presented them in an easy-to-read output. This tutorial has used a sample dataset to keep the setup fast, but that shouldn't stop you from asking Claude to load more movies. Astra DB's free tier gives you enough headroom to store millions of documents and run production-grade workloads. If you want to build applications on Cassandra but don't know where to start, check out the reference applications at Killer video with all the full working code provided. Links in the description and the pinned comment down below. If there's something else you want to build with AI on Cassandra, let me know in the comments. That's all for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.